Hey guys, so I wanted to talk a little bit today about the Elixir set that I use for Sura Breaker. Now, I know as many of y'all have also done, when we first got Breaker, we watched Saintone's video on the Sura Breaker. Which, by the way, if you are watching this video on the day it's released, I will actually be interviewing him on my stream starting at 10 p.m. PST tonight at twitch.tv/MisoxShiru. And in that video, he broke down the stats, the engravings, the elixirs, everything, right? And in that video specifically, he mentioned that his elixir of choice was definitely critical, but at the same time, master is also viable. But the one thing that you had to keep in mind was that with master, you couldn't upkeep your master stacks while you were in your Sura finisher mode. And I think that with this video, a lot of people were very much deterred from playing Master Set because they just thought that A, it might be too much trouble to keep up the stacks, but also B, maybe it's just because Saint told you that you wanted to, use critical, so you went critical as well. But for me, I ended up cutting Master because, in my opinion, for elixirs, you should just cut and use the set that you end up getting. And the game gave me Master, so I ended up going with Master and making my build as so. So I'm rocking a 5-3-1 build right now with Adrenaline 1 as my +1 engraving. Now, in his video, he also mentioned that the +1 Adrenaline build with Master Set Elixirs is actually going to be a higher ceiling build than the +1 Adrenaline Critical Elixir. So I think that it was actually a nice advantage that I got the Master Set over the Critical Set because it technically does do more damage, but there is a little bit more upkeep, right? And in one of my previous Sura videos, I had a viewer comment that they would never recommend Master Elixirs because it is just too impractical to upkeep during Sura. And I wanted to report back on my experience using the Master Elixir to let you guys know whether or not I think that the Master Elixir is worth using if you get it. So what are my thoughts? Well, first off, I do agree that it is a little bit harder to play than using the critical elixirs, because at the end of the day, with critical elixir, you really just don't have to worry about anything. All you need to do is go up, keep up your adrenaline stacks, and that's about it. That's the extent of what you need to worry about. Whereas with master elixirs, you have to worry about your adrenaline, but also keeping up your master, which while keeping them up does use the same method, unfortunately, the way that the stacks drop is going to be different. So you kind of do have to keep in mind two separate things at once when you're using the master set. With adrenaline, of course, that is a timer-based buff, meaning that if you're using adrenaline, the only thing that's going to make your adrenaline stacks go down is if you don't use a skill within the time period of the adrenaline buff. Whereas master is mostly a hit-based buff. So if you get hit, the stacks of master goes down. Now there is a timer to it, but there is that additional factor of being hit. And I would say that for the most part, when you're in a fight, the only reason why your master stacks are going to be going down is because you are getting hit by the boss. So because of this, it does get a little bit more complicated in upkeeping your master set. So the next question really naturally is, how hard is it to upkeep the max 5 stacks of master as a Sura breaker? And I would say that it's actually not that bad. So even though Saint in his video said that there's no way to upkeep master or increase your stacks while you're doing your Sura finisher, that's actually slightly false. While yes, while you're in your Sura finisher, you don't want to use any skills to upkeep your master stacks, that does not mean that you can't upkeep it at all or increase it at all. Much like adrenaline, which goes up with using your X ability, master also goes up whenever you use your X ability. So let's say your master stacks drop down to 4, you can hit your X button to bring it back up to 5. And that really is the key to the master set elixir. So when you go into your Sura finisher, you pretty much always want to keep your X up at all times. Like, you don't want to use your X and have it on cooldown when you go into your Asura finisher, because in the case that you do end up getting hit by the boss, you can press X to increase your master stacks back up to 5 again. And when I say increase it back up to 5, I really do mean it increases back up to 5, because from my findings and from my experience, for the most part, in the fights that you're going to be going against in Lost Ark, most of the attacks that you're going to tank are just going to be one hit. And after that one hit, you're likely not going to be getting hit again until after your Asura finisher. My experience is that in the timing of the Asura finisher, for the most part, you're only going to get hit once. So pressing X during that time to keep that up will be completely viable and feasible. And additionally, in Saint's video, he also mentioned that even at 4 stacks of Master, you're likely going to be getting better damage than the critical set if you're running the Adrenaline 1 build or the Ether Predator build. So even in the rare situations where you don't have your X up, or you used your X to maybe block an attack because you were about to get hit with a big attack and then you didn't have it to keep up your master stacks, in those situations, you are still going to be doing more damage than the critical set with Adrenaline 1 or Ether Predator. So I think that master set is a definitely very viable and very strong Elixir set that I would recommend anybody who is using Adrenaline 1 to go with if they're given the choice. The only time where Master actually starts falling off is when you are being hit with multi-hit skills, like damage over time skills, like for example, the Froge, when he poops up that purple balls and he drops little puddles on the ground, or like a Con Laser. Those are the times where you are going to be dropping stacks quickly. Now there is some text in the Master Elixir set that says that you can only lose 1 stack every 0.5 seconds. So it's not going to drop like from 5 to 0 immediately. But if you are tanking a big multi-hit skill, you likely will be dropping stacks down to like 1 or 0 even if you're tanking the whole thing. But the one thing I do have to mention is that in our endgame raids, for the most part, any big multi-hitting skill, kind of like a Con Laser or Triangle Laser, you likely don't want to be tanking those hits in the first place because they likely give you a ton of meter or they just do a ton of damage. And for the most part, you can find angles on the sides of the bosses to hit the front attack while not tanking the laser. So while the Master set does have some level of higher difficulty to play, it really isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things. A lot of times you're only really going to be tanking 1 or maybe 2 hits. And in those situations, you could really just use your X ability to bring it back up to 4 or 5 stacks, which again, according to Saint, is going to be giving you more damage than critical set Elixir anyways. I think that if you're given the choice of Master set Elixirs, you should definitely not even think twice and go for it if you are not running a 9-7 stone. But if you are running a 9-7 stone with Adrenaline 2, then please, by all means, go critical. Master probably won't be that good for you. So hopefully this video helped you guys out in deciding whether or not you should go for Master or critical set. In my opinion, both sets are very, very good, and you should just use the one that's given to you. As always, let me know down in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video and if you learned, and if you're going to be swapping your sets or swapping your build or whatever after watching this. And also, if you enjoyed it, please remember to hit the like button, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications, and I stream every single night on twitch.tv/MisoxShiru starting at 10 p.m. PST. And again, tonight I will be having Saint on the stream, and I'll be interviewing him about Lost Ark and MMOs in general. So if you are interested in coming and watching that, please tune into my stream. But if I don't see you guys there, hopefully I'll see y'all on the next video. All right, guys, peace out.